Let's be honest, I really want you to read the Pendergast series. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and today guys, we're going to be doing something I haven't done in a really long time. A why you should read. But before we get into this, please do me a favor, like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help the channel grow. You can check the description box down below for links to all of my social media, including my Patreon/book club, which you can join for as little as $1 a month. With all of that out of the way, guys, we are here to talk about the Pendergast series. And this is a series that I have been reading now, for over 20 years. This is by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. And it starts right here with book 1, Relic. But we're not going to talk about Relic per se. We're going to talk about the series and why I think it will appeal. Specifically, because it's an all-encompassing series. This is a thriller. This is a horror series. This is a sci-fi series. And it just does little elements of these other subgenres that makes it something kind of unique. All while also being kind of inspired by Sherlock Holmes. But in a way that I haven't seen done really by anybody else before. It feels reminiscent of Holmes, but it's also unique in its own special way, which is why it speaks to me so much, because I am a huge Holmes nut, kind of. I like to think that I like Sherlock Holmes stuff. I've read a few of the stories by Arthur Conan Doyle. I've watched a bunch of the adaptations. Let's be honest, I'm a huge fan of the adaptations of Sherlock Holmes, whether that's Benedict Cumberbatch, Robert Downey Jr., or what was the show Elementary? I watched a crap ton of Elementary, and I've just been kind of obsessed with Sherlock Holmes my entire life, despite the fact that I still haven't read all the stories. I'm getting off topic. We get to Pendergast, who is our Holmesian-style character. And essentially, Pendergast works for the FBI, and he is this kind of eccentric character. We get a kind of Southern Gothic vibe from him. He is a Southern albino gentleman who comes from a lot of money. Essentially, he doesn't need to work for the FBI. He chooses to work for the FBI. He's got enough money that he could literally just sit at home and do nothing, because he's got a very eccentric old money family, I think down in like Louisiana. And he comes from, frankly, wealth and privilege, to the point where he drives around with a Rolls-Royce Phantom, like an older Rolls-Royce Phantom. Or is it a Ghost? I don't remember. It might be the Ghost. He's got a butler by the name of Proctor. And I guess you could say our Watson style of character here would be Lieutenant Vincent D'Augusta. Which I don't know if he's a lieutenant when we meet him, but now, like, for the majority of the series, he is Lieutenant Vincent D'Augusta of the NYPD. And basically, Vincent is a police officer. He's a good police officer in his own right, but he often finds himself bumping into and paired with Aloysius. I struggle to say his name. I just call him Pendergast, but our titular character. Now, Vincent will not appear in every story, but he's mentioned, at least I believe, in every story. Now, do not let the length of the series be a detractor for why you decide to pick this up. There are currently 22 books in this series, as well as 5 books in the Nora Kelly spin-off series, and I think there's a couple like standalones that are like set in the same world, but don't necessarily tie in. It's been a while since I've read those. But basically, like, we get so many different things throughout this series. We get murder mystery. We get some sci-fi elements. There's some characters that we will meet throughout the series, like Constance, who, I don't want to spoil anything. So, we meet Constance. We get Diogenes, who is this kind of, like, killer mastermind. Or is it Diogenes? I don't know. I struggle with the pronunciation. I've never actually listened to the audiobooks. I've only ever done physical reads for this series. But, like, we get monsters who are, like, people who are turned into monsters for, like, plants from the Amazon rainforest type of deal. We get kind of chases and spooks and jump scares and thrillers and survival in, like, the New York Museum of Natural History, which is what kind of initially drew me to the series, as I used to be, like, just obsessed with the idea of museums with, like, you know, Night at the Museum or something like that with, like, Ben Stiller. Or is that Ben Stiller? Yeah, it's Ben Stiller. But, like, it just pulls in all of these really cool elements and just makes it dance and makes it sing. I love that Pendergast, while always being one step ahead of everybody, also has his faults. He's a very commanding presence. He's a very smooth-talking individual. He's always got these, like, magnifying glasses and test tubes and things about his person, despite the fact that he always shows up to the crime scenes in, like, a really expensive black suit. Like I said, he is a high-class individual, and he just does not fit the picture that you would have for a typical FBI agent. And the way that the series just kind of makes everything work is just really incredible. Now, throughout my life, and I have to speak life because I've been reading this series for so long, I have gotten rid of my copies of the Pendergast series, and then I always end up buying them back. I'm about to do my third buyback of the series. I wish I hadn't gotten rid of the books because they always end up calling back to me. Like, I got to book 16, and I was just like, I think I'm done with the series. And now I'm reading book 17, which I think is like City of Endless Night is what it is called. But essentially, like, I would say the masterpiece version of this story is books 1 through 9. And then we kind of get a little bit into a series that starts with, I believe, 2 Graves. And that's a trilogy in of itself. There are a few trilogies. There's a few standalones in the series. We've got the Diogenes series, where I started with City of the Dead. No, Book of the Dead. It's called Book of the Dead. That's where I started the series back in, I think, high school. And then I ended up going back and rereading Relic once I realized I'd started in the wrong spot. But that's the Diogenes trilogy. There's the 2 Graves trilogy. And then there's a couple other trilogies throughout the series, most of which I just don't know. But we do have some time travel stuff. We've got some monsters. And overall, like, the series is at its best all the way through, I think, Book of the Dead. And then it has some good entries after that. But the series kind of gets a little bit repetitive at times. We have some repeating villains and antagonists and themes. I mean, like I said, the series is 22 books long, so it can get a bit repetitive. But I find myself constantly called back and pulled back into this series. It is one of my absolute favorites that I have ever read. I would probably put this in the top 5 series of my life, up there with, like, the Dirk Pitts and the Wheel of Times. I would put Pendergast up there as well, just because I've read so much of it. Even Dresden. It's up there for me because it's something that feels familiar, but is also incredibly unique. I like that the prose is incredibly readable. It can get graphic at times, but it's never gratuitous. There can be really pulse-pounding moments, but also, like, it transitions beautifully into these investigation-style stories, while also dealing with the real-life issues and the backstories of our characters, if that being D'Augusta, being Constance, being Pendergast, there are 3 pillars of our protagonist's kind of trifecta. But I just really want more people to check this series out. At least the first 7 or 8 of them. It's something that's really, really special to me. And I've recommended it to people recently. My buddy Patrick recently just picked it up, and he's been enjoying it. And that's just been really nice to see when I recommend Pendergast to people, that they pick it up and they enjoy the reading experience. Is the entire series a masterpiece? No, I will be completely honest. There was a period of time where I was just like, it feels like they brought in ghostwriters. Especially within, I think, books 15 and 16 just didn't feel particularly strong to me. And I lost a lot of faith in the series at that time, which is what led to me unhauling my books last time, which I really shouldn't have done. But that's neither here nor there. But I will say I will be getting these books back into my collection, hopefully in hardcover, because I just have so much love for this series. And I'm excited to just, well, catch up, because I'm reading book 17 now, and I plan to catch up on the series, and then also read the Nora Kelly books, which is the spinoff, which there are currently 5 of. Please let me know in the comments down below if this is something that sounds interesting to you. Have you already tried it? Are you aware of this series? Please, please, please do me a huge favor and at least try the first book, because Relic is fantastic. I think it came out in the 90s. It's been out for a long while, but this is all I've really got for today, guys. My goal is to really just highlight the Pendergast series. Don't watch the movie. The movie was atrocious. It doesn't even have Pendergast in it. They did Augusta dirty, and overall, like, the adaptation of Relic, I think, is one of Hollywood's worst. But the book itself is fantastic. So do yourself a favor, read the book, don't watch the movie. I just kind of want to preface that the movie's not good. But that's all I've really got for you today, guys. I hope you are doing well. Till next time, peace out, stay magical. Bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons. Thank you for supporting my passion and my hobby. It means the world to me.